I got you, people. So I don't know what's been going on with the United States, man. That we just can't stay put in our own country here in the West and the Northern Hemisphere. That we always got to get out and get involved in other people's wars. Or we want to create a war by saying that somebody is doing something to the country or to the economy, or is trying to sabotage America's, economy, or or getting involved in America's affairs by corrupting the internet, things like that. And so we always find a way to accuse another country that they know that they cannot harm us in any way, shape, or form. But we're gonna have to name some country to pick on to show the rest of the world our military strength with. Nobody cares because the countries we go after can't defend themselves against the military might of the USA, right? So I have no idea why a government is sending all these ships, destroyers, carriers, amphibious equipment, and 400,000 Marines of what sort to Venezuela. What is Venezuela gonna do to our country? Nothing. The Venezuelans can't even protect themselves from another neighbor. Well, they shooting just small arms equipment in combat. There's nobody out there in the world that could compete with the American military. It's just that we just don't pick on countries that's gonna compare their might with us. It's gonna be catastrophic, and that's why we don't go after these countries that got the same arsenal or the same capability as we do. So what we do, we pick on smaller countries. We accuse them of things that we know we already have that here in this country. That the problem is not the foreign country. The problem is within the USA itself, inside the country. Like, we've been having drugs in this country for years. It was just in this scale that it was now or before, like in the 80s when it started, right? All these drugs started coming in. But the Americans always been involved in some kind of take with the drugs, trafficking, drug negotiations. A lot of officials were involved, getting paid under the table, a lot of protection. So to blame Venezuela that the cartel was bringing, first it was Colombia, right, with Pablo Escobar, El Chapo, all these people that were famous in drug trafficking. They never did nothing. Now, after it slowed down, they want to make the Venezuelans. And then now, they saying that Venezuelans don't want to sending all these drugs to the cartel, even to the British and things like that. But the British were sending opium to China back in the days, right? Looks like people forgot about that. And Europe didn't get arrested, the government, or they flooded the United Kingdom, right? With military or the National Court of Justice, right? No. But when the Philippine president, Roberto Duterte, was doing that to clean up his country, right? The International Court of Justice indicted him and arrested him on that. And also when the president in El Salvador started arresting all these cartel drug dealers, right, to clean up his country. Nobody said nothing. Nobody arrested him. But no, they only arrest people that they want to arrest. So he's doing okay. He cleaning his country, but America could do the same thing over here. But he doesn't do it. But he's blaming another country for the problems in America. How could that be? You got kids out in the street selling marijuana now. Selling this, but whatever they call it. They're out in the street in the open selling, and the cops pass right by them and they don't do nothing. But they want to harass other people that are trying to work or whatever, and they give them the hammer, and they want to bring justice upon them and get them out of the country. As here, you got lots of people that dealing drugs right in the middle of everybody in the public, but nobody does nothing. And that's the problem with this country. They see it, but they don't say nothing. I thought you said you see something, say something. I don't think that's working, and it's not working at all, right? You see something, people keeping their mouth shut, their eyes closed, and their ears plugged. They don't want to get involved. But you quick to blame another country that's bringing drugs in. And how these drugs get in there, obviously they got contacts, they got somebody that's getting paid that's letting these things in. But no, America wants to start a new war with Venezuela. I just hope things don't escalate, because it's back. Those people are gonna suffer. Those people have no military training, the capacity to go against the United States Army, a well-trained military. People think that the military in the United States is weak. It's like, no, we weak, or we disoriented, and we always like to fight, and we loudmouth. The training that we get, we will never forget. That's in you, and you're gonna take that to your grave. I don't care how long you've been out of service. When it comes to military training, that sticks to you, and you will never forget. And you're gonna defend yourself and the country as if it needs to. If it needs to, we're gonna defend that. That's why there's nobody in this planet that could overrun the United States and military training power and the capability that the men and women get from the armed forces. We train 7 days a week. It's just they don't have the capability, unless there's somebody else that's got the technology that is not a ground war that we're gonna fight. Basically, when the United States goes out, we're not gonna send no troops on the ground. We're gonna bomb you by air and by sea, by naval. They're just not gonna make it. Any country thinks out there that America is weak and the people are disoriented. No, the military is intact and is always gonna protect, and is always under orders of the president. We're gonna ignite any other country that we get orders to do it. And that's off our hands. We there to take orders. We're not there to debate. And we're not counselors and things like that. So if you start a war that you cannot stop, I feel sorry for the people, the civilians that are involved, because there's going to be a lot of death. But anyway, people, again with that, other thing with this 31-year-old man that got his life canceled because the other left or the right didn't like what he said and they had canceled him. Believe me, if people say that they want to go to war, they're going to go to war, but that's a Caucasian war. That's a white folks war. If they go to war, let them be. Let them cancel each other, because the problems of this country is from them, and nobody should get involved with that. No blacks, no brown, no Hispanics, nobody in color, no Indian, no Africans, no Jamaicans. Do not get involved with the American people, problems. That's their problem. They want to run the country. They want to ruin the country. We just got to stay here and live and do the best things we can for our families and people around us. If they want to go at war and kill themselves, let them be. They've been at war since they got here to the northern side of the hemisphere, throughout the Caribbean. No country is safe as long as the white Caucasian, the Europeans are still out there creating chaos. They are the problems of global chaos. People, let these people fight. Let them go out against each other and cancel each other out. We have no control, and we're not going to get involved, and we shouldn't get involved. So with that said, people, you've been advised and not to take everything that people say on YouTube literally and try to go physical on someone and try to cancel people out and cancel each other out. It's just not right. You're going to lose your life just because somebody says something, their opinion, and you didn't like it, and now you're going to get, lose your life for some words or somebody's expression. With that, people, I'll let you go and you think about that.